The following is a Just Green production brought to you by the Might Be News Network.
What's up, everybody? It's the week of November 19th, 2018. This is Might Be Sports. I'm Taylor Cooper. With me, Kevin Reevey. What's up, Kevin?
I am thankful for that introduction.
Hi, CJ.
I hear it's a big day today, a big show.
It's a big show. It's first of all, it's the day before Thanksgiving. So we have the complete schedule of sports for Thanksgiving. On today's show, whatever, we're going to be talking to Brandon Robinson, otherwise known as Scoop B from Scoop B Radio. We had him on about a month ago. He broke some news about the Markelle Fultz situation, and there was some developments. Very crazy, weird developments. Apparently, he's not going to be playing or practicing until he sees a shoulder specialist next week. He didn't play any in the second half against the Suns. Now, I'm not mad about this right now because we just got Jimmy Butler and the team looks pretty solid to me right now. They're fun to watch. And I've been frustrated with Markelle Fultz, as we've talked about.
Yeah, this is brought on by Markelle Fultz's team.
Yes.
This is not a 76ers team thing that they're starting, which makes it weird and fishy. The team, it's a bunch of hilarious quotes where everybody on the team, Elton Brand, the GM, Coach Brown, they're all kind of dancing around the fact that they don't really believe Fultz, or it seems that way, that they don't really believe him, that this is about the shoulder injury, because it's coming just after him being benched in the second half.
Right.
Then picking up Jimmy Butler, and it seems like TJ McConnell's going to be taking some of his minutes, maybe not.
He looked good the other night.
I guess the perception in his base is that this is the way things are going. But why Fultz would think he's earned a starting spot is beyond me.
Right.
But this thing has been weird from the start. It all starts from this weird shoulder injury that we don't know how it started. And that's why we're bringing on Scoop, because
he broke the story.
That's the origin.
He literally broke the story with us about a month ago that Markelle Fultz was in a motorcycle accident. And nobody was talking about this.
There's never been a story about what caused the shoulder injury.
I've never seen
anything. You go on
anything.
ESPN.com right now, it says a shoulder injury on
there's nothing.
October of 2017, but no mention of how he got hurt.
Which is very crazy. And Scoop B came on our show about a month ago and told us that he was in a motorcycle accident. And that nobody's talking about this. And now that these things keep happening and weird things, now people are starting to ask questions. He was in a conversation on Twitter with somebody just recently, Scoop B was, about the fact that this is starting to come out. More and more people are going to start talking about this. So we're going to talk to him later in the show. We're going to get to the bottom of some of this stuff, find out what he thinks, if he's heard anything else, what he thinks of the latest developments, what he thinks of the Jimmy Butler trade, how that's going to work out, all that good stuff. But to start the show, I wanted to talk a little bit about the historic Monday Night Football game between the Chiefs and the Rams. Some quick facts from this game that I found interesting. 14 combined touchdowns. 1,001 combined yards. 105 points total. That's the most in NFL history. And it's the first time that both teams scored over 50 points. Final score, Chiefs lost to the Rams 51-54.
You know what I love most about those stats so far? The 1,001 yards. Because my simple brain, you know how we do that thing where it's like a football field. Like you say, how long is something? Like, it's like 2 football fields.
Yeah.
When it's 1,000 yards, I'm like, it's 10 football fields plus 1 yard.
Yeah.
Like I can do that math, and I'm like, that's a lot of football fields.
Yeah,
it's
it
like
is.
10 of them.
Yeah. It was
So like in my head, I'm like, I'm lining up 10 football fields, and I can do that math.
right.
So I like that one.
It was an absolutely outrageous game. Oh, the last thing I wanted to say, crazy stat. Patrick Mahomes is the first quarterback to throw 6 touchdowns in a Monday Night Football game. Ever. A rookie. Bright lights, away. He threw 6 touchdowns, 3 picks. And they were pretty crazy picks. Costly. Do you think that affects his MVP candidacy?
Not at all.
No, I don't either.
He threw 6 touchdowns.
Right. On a
Their-
prime
their-
time stage
The record
away.
is 7.
Right. Right.
So yeah, he's good.
He's good.
He's fine.
Right. I mean, 478 yards. It's QBR of 77.1.
Bigger-
Those 3 picks.
Bigger picture though, and I do want to say, the first time I had this thought was from something Joe Giglio of WIP in Philadelphia. He's a sports talk radio guy. He had this point on Twitter where he was talking about, QB protections and how it's, scores are going outrageous, and the price on a quarterback may have dropped because they're so protected and the quality of a quarterback is going up. And there's better quarterbacks. Like the talent is going up at the same time that they're being more protected. So you have to wonder if the cost of acquiring one of these quarterbacks has gone down. It has to, because right now you could say there's like 20 elite quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right.
And you could never say that before. So I wondered, does that mean they're going to start rolling back the protections? Because protecting the quarterback, first of all, as far as safety goes, you can't make an argument for safety when you're not protecting any other player on the football field like you are the quarterback. You're protecting the quarterback because of their value to the team and the game. Once the number, like it's a math thing. Once the number of quarterbacks, the amount of quality quarterbacks goes up, the less you need to protect them more than every other player on the field. So I do wonder if this is going to start a trend where we start to roll back these rules. I mean, just last year, a backup quarterback won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. The only thing that, and I agree with all of that, the only thing that I would say is that in football, like, I don't know, I guess you could compare it to like a starting pitcher or something, but like where I'm going is that with football, quarterbacks are like branded as the number one spot. No matter, it doesn't even matter if they're good or not. Joe Flacco. They're
That was going to be my
the
counter.
guy. They're the guy, though. You know what I mean?
But then
Like,
Joe
even
Flacco goes down and they have another guy. That's the point.
Right. No, I get it. And you get, some teams get Lamar Jackson. Some teams get lucky with Nick Foles. Some teams have Colt McCoy.
And more teams seem like they're going that direction.
Yeah.
You got Baker Mayfield with the Browns. There's a lot of teams that seem to have 2 options. I mean, I'm not saying every team is going to have 2.
Who's the Redskins
fantastic
quarterback
options.
this weekend? Colt McCoy, right?
But we don't need every team in the NFL to have a star quarterback.
And their backup is now they just brought in Mark Sanchez as the backup.
That's pretty sad.
Yeah.
Well, I think it just rotates, like players and everything. So, a couple years, wide receivers, there'll be a couple popular ones. They'll make rules protecting them again, and then it just rotates every so often.
But now, is this not like a perfect landing spot for Colin Kaepernick? You got the Redskins, who got to be dying to, I mean, nobody's talking about it right now, but they're still the Redskins. There's people that refuse to call them the Redskins. And
It is Colt
this is a
McCoy.
great opportunity for them to like get some like good press. And, from the same people that are trashing on them for being the Redskins are going to praise them for signing Kaepernick. This would be a good move by them.
They didn't.
And it would be an upgrade. I mean, Kaepernick can't throw a football worth shit, but he can run. And Lamar Jackson proved that's all you need. I always said, I want a backup quarterback that runs the ball because I don't care about his health. My starting guy already went down. Our season's already presumably shot. I'm going to run the crap out of my backup, and defenses are going to have a hell of a time trying to defend that. It's hard. You look like through the history of the NFL, guys that were basically pure runners, Mike Vick, Vince Young, they all had like 1 year.
Yeah.
And then once the NFL adjusted to them, they kind of fell back.
Right.
So you want the backup to be, not in every scenario, but it would be nice to have a guy like that in your backup spot because you can't defend that. You don't know he's going in. Even if you have 1 week to prepare, you wouldn't be able to for a guy like Lamar Jackson who's going to run for 150 yards.
Right. Yeah, he had his first start over the weekend. He didn't do bad.
And if he goes down, if he gets hurt, it's like, well, we're playing with house money.
Right.
Our first guy is already out.
I don't know. It's interesting. And Alex Smith, shout out to him. It looks terrible. His leg looked terrible. Did you see that shit?
No, I missed that.
Did you see it?
Crazy that it's the Redskins on the same exact day as Theismann.
Yep. It's nuts. And they say it's the same injury, pretty much.
But Sports Now, and he'll be fine. He'll get fixed. They'll give him like one of those like Star Wars leg things where like, you know what I mean? Where like, Luke, that was his name, right?
Yeah.
I shouldn't talk about things I really don't know about. But you got like the fake hand and everything. That's basically where we are in 2018.
Right.
You could shatter your leg. First of all, it's a leg. Are you throwing with your leg? No. All right, you're fine.
Right.
I think in our lifetimes, we're going to see a guy with one of those blade legs playing quarterback or another position. Why couldn't you?
I don't know. Does that give you unfair advantage?
That would be so.
You could put a little more. You could have put a little more bounce in those.
You would be
the ski leg things and jump above everyone.
That's true.
You'd be the easiest running back to tackle in the history of the NFL. You go for those blades. It would hurt, but you would get that tackle for sure.
I don't know. Moving on. Thanksgiving sports activities. We got the schedule here. Your NFL games. You got the classic Bears Lions. You got that's at 12:50.
That could be a good game.
It's gonna be a good game.
That's definitely going to be a good
I don't know if Mitch Trubisky's playing or not. They're saying
doesn't matter. There's a rivalry. It's
shoulder injury. Yeah, it's gonna be a good game. Redskins Cowboys. That's at 4:30. It's gonna be a good game.
It's going to be a good game.
We'll see how Colt McCoy does. See how Colt McCoy does. I don't know. But and at 8:20, Falcons at Saints. That's gonna be a real good game.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be good. I don't care about the Redskins Cowboys game because that's one of those games you just want to end in a tie.
Yeah, fuck them.
Well, there's
because
a scenario.
They both can't lose, so it has to be a tie.
There's a scenario where if the Eagles beat the Redskins, and then the Cowboys beat the Redskins. No, I'm sorry. The Eagles beat the Giants. The Cowboys beat the Redskins. Next week, the Eagles beat the Redskins. There's a scenario where the Eagles are in a tie for first place.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. And the next week, a win would put them in first, no matter what happens.
The other day, Randy was
Something
explaining
like
to me the Giants are technically still in.
Well, not really. That would mean a total collapse from everybody.
It could happen.
Any given Sunday. So that's the NFL. You have a college football game at 7:30. That's 18th ranked Mississippi State at Ole Miss. That'll be a good game. It's at 7:30. And college basketball, we've got Nevada at Tulsa at 4 o'clock. Charleston at LSU at 7 p.m. Texas versus North Carolina. That's going to be a real good game at 7:30. And UAB versus Florida State at 9 p.m. And the late night game, Michigan State at UCLA at 10 p.m.
Not bad. I trash on minor league football all the time, but minor league basketball,
That's where it's at.
that's some good basketball.
It is. It is.
I'm not real proud of my Villanova Wildcats right now, but it's
What's
okay.
going on with there? What's up with that? What's their record right now?
I mean, last I checked, they were 2-2. I could be a game or
I
two
thought they've
behind.
only lost a couple.
They were bad losses.
Yeah.
There was a blowout loss to Michigan,
Okay.
and then they lost to I don't know, like St. Agatha's prep school for children. It was bad. I don't know what school it was. Underwater basket weaving, weird college.
That's
not
the
a
major
good
there?
school. Not a good school. One of the schools I was considering going to out of high school. Like, they'll take anyone.
Wow.
It could have been IUP, my alma mater. Which, when I say where I went to, I say Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
Wow.
That of Pennsylvania is very quiet.
But
No, it is kind of annoying, just not to go on like a total rant here, but it is annoying when people don't let me finish. When they say, "Oh, where'd you go?" Indiana University. But Indiana University, it's so cool. It's like, now I need to stop you and be like, of Pennsylvania. Like, now you're making it my job to disappoint you. Like, all you had to do was let me finish. Anyway.
so it's
So as
Loaded
of tomorrow, Kevin did not graduate from IUP when they revoke his diploma for
I
his
thought you were
comments here.
I thought you were going to get into some inside information, which is, I guess we shouldn't go into that because then it's of public record. But there is some interesting information having to do with my college record. I graduated. Okay, it's all I'm going to say. I graduated.
Craig, pull up the could you pull up the spreads for the Thursday games?
All right.
We'll see if we can guess those. And before we do that, on Friday, there's a pay-per-view golf event.
I can't wait.
It's Tiger Woods versus Phil Mickelson, and there's $9 million on the line. And they were on, pardon the interruption, they were talking about it and saying that there's no audience in the crowd. There's no crowd. It's just them
That's weird.
and a camera crew on a golf course. They're both mic'd up, so you'll be able to hear them talking the whole time. And they even asked them like if it's edited or if unedited, and it's unedited. So if they screw up, they both said they may or may not drop F-bombs.
That's going to be weird. I think in the future when they do these things again, there's going to be some sort of crowd. I think you have to have that. They might regret that decision, but I understand you can't have a full crowd for one round of golf
Right.
with just two guys and people getting liquored up and shouting things out. And, when you just have two guys,
It's a long day.
somebody's going to try to ruin the whole thing.
Right.
And all you need is one person out of a. I mean, what do they bring? What could they bring? Like 10,000 people to
Right.
one thing? It takes one guy to ruin the whole deal. So
Who's gonna pay $20 for this?
Yeah, it's $20.
I think
That's
it's going to be
That's right.
amazing.
Yeah, it's $20.
I mean, I'm a
That's
fan.
right.
There's a lot of people that love to watch the sport. They're going to pay this, but it's one of those holiday weekend things. Are you going to be like, I'm going to be all over the place. I got to find a spot to watch it. That's
Yeah.
my only issue.
Real quick before we go on break and do Scoop B, let's guess these spreads real quick.
All right. Bears Lions.
It's at Lions?
Yes, it's at Detroit.
All right, Bears -4.
I'm gonna go Bears -3.
Bears -4.5.
Wow. All right.
Redskins Cowboys.
I'm gonna go Cowboys +5.
No way. I'm taking Pick'em.
It is Cowboys -7.5.
Wow.
Why?
No
That's-
Alex Smith.
I don't care.
I'm telling you.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you.
Too high. Take the Redskins. That should be a pick.
Falcons Saints.
I'm going Saint. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You're jumping the gun. Falcons Saints. All right, Saints. This is an easy one. I got it. It's this is -5. Saints.
I'll go Saints -6.
Saints -13.
Wow.
I might be totally wrong with the Falcons. I think they're maybe worse off than I thought. We're totally that's embarrassing. We screwed that one up big time.
It's going to be a great day of football. It's going to be a great day of sports. I love Thanksgiving. I love it, love it, love it. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have Scoop B. We're going to talk Markelle Fultz and some NBA action. It's Taylor Cooper. Make sure you check out the Novak and Franz show exclusively on mbnnetwork.com. You can get at us on Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and of course SoundCloud. Every other Thursday, new episodes with Novak and Franz where they take your calls, answer your questions, talk about all kinds of crazy stuff. This week, we have Chris Rabb on the show. Make sure you check it out. All right, welcome back to Might Be Sports. With us on the phone, we got Brandon Robinson, otherwise known as Scoop B from Scoop B Radio. What's going on, Scoop? How you doing?
Man, I'm good. Just been running around. Played a couple pickup games of basketball, so I wanted to phone with you, so I'm wrapped up and ready to get going.
Excellent, excellent. A lot of crazy stuff going on right now. First of all, like we were saying earlier in the episode, we also played a clip last week from our interview with you about a month ago. You pretty much broke some pretty crazy news on our show about a month ago about Markelle Fultz involved in a motorcycle accident. Can you refresh my memory and the listeners, if they haven't heard it, on what you heard and who you heard it from and everything?
Well, I can't tell you who I heard it from. I will tell you that it is a celebrity. I won't give names, but I will say that this person told me that, and in confidence. And, that's why I'm not out of you now. But what I will say to you is I was on 97.3 ESPN last week and talked about Markelle Fultz and basically said that the reason why his shoulders hurt is because he had a motorcycle accident. And it kind of paused when I said it. And then at the same time, I think Kyle Neubeck had tweeted something about basically Markelle pump faking at the free throw line. Like, those are free. Why are you pump faking? And, I reiterated the same thing I said on your show that I said on 97.3. Deshaun Hendricks and Josh Henning on 97.3 ESPN. And then I tweeted that on Twitter and wrote about it at heavy.com, where I'm a contributing writer there. And kind of just spiraled from there. And here we are a week later.
It's unreal because it's continuing to pick up steam. It's like a snowball effect. And it all kind of came to a head today when it was announced that upon, I guess, advice of his attorney, he's not practicing or playing in games until he sees a shoulder specialist next week. What do you make of that?
Well, he told Kyle Neubeck, his Tony Brothers, his agent who doubles as his attorney, he told Kyle Neubeck that the motorcycle thing is absolutely false. And so if that's what he says, that's what he says. But I don't know about you, but I know that if it's not true, why are you breaking the neck to prove that it's not true?
Right.
And where's the story? There's never been, I was reading on ESPN.com today, they had this story of, what Fultz is going through right now. And they talk about an injury in October or whenever it was of last year. And they don't elaborate on what caused the injury. No one's talking about what caused the injury. If it's not the motorcycle accident, what caused it? So is there anything out there that's like another possibility that made this thing happen?
Yeah, it's kind of been vague. And here's what I'll say, objectively speaking. Markelle Fultz is 20 years old. He's the first pick in the 2017 NBA draft. Is on a team that's pretty much built around some talented young guys like Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, etc. Poor Jimmy Butler. and we'll get to Jimmy Butler in a minute, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But what I'll say is, all lines pointed to this being Jimmy Butler's year. Zach LaVine, I was with him a couple of weeks ago in Chicago. The man, this is his year. And we talked to Jamal Crawford, and Jamal Crawford talked about how much he worked out with LaVine and Markel over the summer, and he said he was ready. So you look at that situation, and they didn't get Jamal Crawford this summer, and I think I've gone on record and told you, and I can say it now, that basically Jamal Crawford would have been a Sixer if they were able to get rid of Jerry Bayless's contract. I can tell you that for sure. But what I'll add is, you look at Markel Fultz, he was the guy that was supposed to be their scorer at will because they didn't get any more key guys in Paul George and LeBron James. You feel bad because not only is he not playing up to expectations, you adjust your shot, etc., but then you got Handler coming out discussing just how you and your boys kind of rolled up on him. Then, the motorcycle thing, which I knew about maybe a week before I told you, a week and a half. And then, you're in a situation where, now your attorney or your lawyer is getting involved. It's a lot to chew in one setting, and it seems to be on their side. But here's what I'll add. If you didn't get hurt in a motorcycle accident, cool. But then it's almost like you didn't. If you're a 5-year-old, you tell your mother you don't draw on the wall, but you got the crayon on top of your bed. Your crayon, hypothetically speaking, is all the draft coverage where you and your family are talking about all the BMX racing that you've been doing.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, okay, fine. If I'm a liar, cool. But it's not like you've never been on a bike before.
Right.
That's a great
By the
point.
way,
And
I'm
you
not
would think he would be offering up something as an alternative, and that's not coming out. Like you said, it's vague.
Exactly. He's too quiet. And my thing is, I'm not angry. I'm not angry at all. So if I'm wrong, cool. But at the same time, you come out with a report stating that, or the Philly Voices, how Newbeck comes out with a report saying that his agent, Tony Brothers, says it didn't happen. Well, of course his agent is going to say that. His job is to protect his client.
Sure. Well, I mean, go ahead.
No, gentlemen first. Go ahead.
I was going to say, at this point, the fans of the Sixers, the fans of Fultz, deserve to know what's going on because, I mean, the ticket buyers, the jersey buyers, all these people that are supporting for him. Me myself, every game that he plays, I want to see him succeed and get better and better. And he keeps becoming viral for his terrible shooting and his free throws and this and that. And then this happens, and it's just there's no answers.
Not a good look.
Yeah, and it's
there's
frustrating.
an answer. He was sitting courtside at the Sixers game last night. That's Allen Iverson.
Yeah,
that's the only answer we got.
Yep. Yeah. Right. That's the only answer. It's crazy because it's like we get Jimmy Butler, and it's this huge exciting moment. We got that all-star. Star hunting, as the coach put it, and just we got him, and he's winning. They're doing good. Like the game winner the other night over the weekend in overtime was outrageous. They want him to be a part of the offense. What do you think about Jimmy Butler moving forward with the Sixers?
Well, first of all, if they ever do a story on his life, Jamie Foxx should play Jimmy Butler. I'm going to put that out there. He looks just like him.
That's perfect. I never thought about that. That's really, really good.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But with the high top fade, he looks more like Jamie Foxx in the movie Booty Call.
That's true.
He does.
But I will say this. I'm happy for Jimmy Butler because I think that Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are moldable and receptive to constructive criticism in a way that maybe some other players on the Minnesota Timberwolves may not have been.
Okay.
And I think that's partly just playing in Philadelphia. You're open to criticism all the time. But I also do think that the Sixers are in a position to win right now more so than the Timberwolves were. I feel like the Timberwolves are 3 years behind where they should have been. the Timberwolves should have been the heir apparent to the Warriors, and maybe it'll take a little more time. I don't know. It's the Derrick Rose show there right now, which is a good, encouraging thing.
Right.
However, when I look at the Sixers right now, I look at the Sixers last season as a team that nobody had tape on. And so they came out of nowhere. I use this example all the time. Me being in New York, I paid attention to Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin had something to prove. He came out of nowhere. The Lin Sanity thing kind of just took everybody by surprise. I mean, they were talking about it on 2020. If your mama talking about Jeremy Lin, you know he's somebody.
Right.
If Good Morning America's talking about it, you somebody.
That's a fact.
So when I look at that situation with Jeremy Lin and comparatively to the Sixers came out of nowhere. I mean, look, I thought the Sixers would maybe be an 8th seed last year. They exceeded those expectations. What were they, a 3rd seed last year?
Yeah, I know they won,
they were
52 games. They had like a 20-game winning streak going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you look at that situation with the Sixers, they did well, but now everybody's used to them. Okay, Boston. The Sixers kind of got help because, Boston and had injuries, but now their role guys are back healthy. Jason Tatum now knows his role. Kyrie's been knowing his role. And you have a healthy Gordon Hayward who knows his role. You have Al Horford, he knows his role. Now you got a competition in the Eastern Conference in the Atlantic Division. And so when I look at the Sixers, the only other team I say this till the end of the season, a team that doesn't get their props and their just due is the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah.
Because the Milwaukee Bucks are not an East Coast team, and they're not Chicago. And so people sleep on them. But when you have a guy by the name of the Greek Freak and Giannis Antetokounmpo, well, they're coming for you. And I feel like, while the Sixers have their place and they're impressive, another team that, you just can't sleep on is the Toronto Raptors.
Right.
Kawhi Leonard and company too quiet, but it took LeBron leaving the Eastern Conference to make them even feared in that regard.
It's funny because we were just talking about, in the NFL, where we're saying, guys like Vince Young and Mike Vick, they had early success because teams didn't know what to do with them. So it's kind of funny that you're bringing up, this with the 76ers. Teams didn't really know what to do with them, especially at the end of last year. They weren't really respecting the team, didn't know they were that good. This season, they kind of had a target on their backs, and you're seeing what they're doing with that now. I think with the addition of Jimmy Butler, they're doing a little bit better, but even these wins, they're squeaking them out.
Right.
So I for sure, right now, they're not nearly as good as they were last year. But I mean, that's a great point. I wonder if teams are coming into Philly now and thinking, this is the team to beat, and giving them their A game, and they're playing us well. We're not blowing out any opponent right now.
Right.
Right. I mean, and listen, Jimmy Butler and the Sixers, I got to get used to saying that. He's a Charlotte Hornets team with Kemba Walker scored 60 points a game.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Kim is playing for that contract right now.
Right.
And more power to him. But, Jimmy hit a game winner against the Hornets in Charlotte, and he's new.
Right. After blocking a potential game-winning shot by Kemba and keeping it in bounds in that crazy play that led up to the game winner, which was outrageous.
But here's what's crazy. All that's true. That was in the last minute of the game.
Right.
Up until that minute, the prior 30 minutes, I'm screaming, where's Jimmy Butler?
Sure.
We need scores.
Right.
He's not taking the ball. He's not hitting shots. Where's he? I was cursing his name before that. And then, of course, he becomes the hero at the end. But there's a lot of truth to be said. I was looking for Jimmy Butler before then. I mean, we still don't seem to have. I mean, I guess Jimmy Butler's eventually going to move into that role. Maybe he's a little uncomfortable taking over right now.
Right.
But he wasn't taking over like I hoped he would at that point.
Listen, Jimmy Butler is the epitome of the kid in high school that transferred from the other side of town to the school on the other side of town, and he bags the girl that everybody wanted and they obsessed over.
That's what I want, though.
Yeah. I don't know.
I want him to come over here and make this town his own.
One thing that I noticed and that I love what I'm seeing is the intensity on defense when Jimmy Butler's on the floor. And everybody keeps saying it about him, his defense. And it's true. You just watch it, and he's all over the floor. I feel like everybody's playing better defense because he's there. And I think that that's going to be a new dimension for the Sixers moving forward. That kind of makes them new again to these teams that think they know what they're doing and think they know what to expect coming into Philly. Certainly, I mean, they haven't lost in Philly yet this season.
Nope.
So
Nope.
I mean, we'll see how it keeps going.
If I'm in the NBA right now and I'm looking at Philly, I like them as an underdog. Everybody can pay attention to Raptors. Everybody can pay attention to the Bucks. You know, the Raptors are 13-4 at time of our recording, and the Bucks are 12-4 at the time of our recording. Philly's in the fourth spot, but the Pacers got some Victor Oladipo issues. They're in third. And I look at the Celtics at 9-8. Like it's the Magic at 9-8. Like nobody was checking for the Magic like that this season.
It's a battle right now in the East.
Yeah,
I think the East is what I want the NBA to be. I'm not in love with the super teams. I love the East right now. It's really great basketball.
Yeah, the East is cool. You know, and I feel like a lot of people will pay so much attention to the West with LeBron coming to the West. And I'm happy to see the Portland Trailblazers, who are at 11-5, flourishing. You know, I'm on a myriad of different podcasts and radio shows doing NBA previews, and you know, I said I looked at the Blazers as a top. I think I said a top 16, hell, 5 team. Then you look at the Nuggets. I said they were top 14. You know, Nuggets currently in the 6th spot at 10-7. The Blazers are first place, 11-5. But the Blazers came out swinging from the beginning when they beat the Lakers at opening night.
Yeah.
And they haven't looked back since.
Yeah. The West is up for
Now,
grabs.
granted, the Warriors dealing with injuries right now, so
Right.
They'll be where they need to be. But the Clippers are doing pretty well also.
Oh, I wanted to ask you about that too with the Warriors. Speaking of that, what do you think is going to happen with KD in the offseason? Do you think he's going to go to LA?
Well, I went on record in September, and September 17th, I won't forget it, it's my sister's birthday, her 22nd birthday, and said that source confirmed with me that Kevin Durant will be a member of the Los Angeles Lakers come next season. I'm sticking with my source, and we'll see how it plays out. And granted, many people thought that was untrue, but I think what makes it look more true now is, the issues with Draymond Green and Kevin Durant right now, what's going on. But as much as people want to dump on the Warriors and kick them when they're down, there's still a chance. It's a long season to play, and they're on a 3-game losing streak. And when Steph comes back, look out.
Right. We also wanted to ask you before we let you go, Scoop, about some breaking news that we just found out about, that the Cleveland Cavaliers and J.R. Smith have mutually decided to part ways. They're both parties, I guess, are looking for a trade. What do you make of that, and where do you think he's going to end up?
I'm not really surprised. I know the Smith family. I actually played with JR's brother, Chris, in a celebrity basketball game in the Bronx this summer, former Nick, Chris Smith. And I actually wrote a piece on JR before the season started. And I look at JR right now. He got into some legal stuff with some fan where he threw a fan's phone in Manhattan, and it became this big thing. JR needs to change the scenery because his 2 biggest supporters are no longer in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And LeBron and Kyrie Irving. Cleveland is. I like Cleveland. I happen to like Cleveland. It's a place where it's slower than New York or Philly, and you're able to flourish because you can hide out and all you can do is play basketball. If you want to go to a club, you can. I can listen to the DJ Steph Loss on the 1s and 2s. But here's the thing: when you're not winning, you're not motivated, and when you're not winning and you're not motivated, people have room to criticize, and you say things that people don't like. It's time for JR to go. And I think that Tyronn Lue being fired was kind of the icing on the cake, because those guys that are remaining from that championship team, and Kevin Love and JR, respected the heck out of Ty Lue. Larry Drew is a good coach, but, the Cavs are 2-13. So, they're going in a new direction and focusing on Zion Williamson at this point. It's time to go. J.R. Smith is like 33, 34. He's looking to win somewhere. Where do I see him going? While some people want to beg to see a LeBron and LA pairing, I see a situation in Atlanta with the Hawks. I see a situation in any place that's not Cleveland, any place that's not New York.
So what about Philadelphia? I mean, I know I'm the big time homer over here, but I mean, I see a guy like him. We need 3-point shooting, and when he's motivated, he can hit that shot.
A guy that is from Lakewood, New Jersey, maybe 45 minutes from Wells Fargo Arena. He's an East Coast guy. I would like it. You know, if you're looking at the Sixers right now, Chris Sheridan reported that, you know, the Sixers are interested in Carmelo Anthony.
We don't want that.
15th.
That can't be.
Well,
good.
I'm just stating the facts.
Yeah.
I hear you have you're a homer, you have your biases.
Right.
I'm just the messenger. Don't kill the messenger.
What would you think about that, Scoop? Do you think that scenario could work? Carmelo?
Carmelo or with J.R. Smith?
Either one, but I was talking about Carmelo.
Well, just like you're a homer, I'm a homer. I'm partial to Melo because I got to know Melo during his time here as a Knick. I do think that Carmelo going to the Philadelphia 76ers would be a good fit because he doesn't have to be the star of that team the way Houston had him being. Losing Dario Saric is going to hurt them in some ways, definitely from a rebounding perspective. Carmelo is a rebounding small forward, and the way that the small ball game is played now, 6'8" small forwards are now power forwards and centers. And so I think from a rebounding perspective, from a pure scoring perspective, Carmelo fits the bill. But to me, Carmelo would also fit in Portland with the Blazers. He would also fit in San Antonio. San Antonio, if I'm not mistaken, they're an 8-8 team in 11th place in the NBA's Western Conference behind the Sacramento Kings. Who would have thunk it? I think that they could use his services. I think Philadelphia uses his services. There's certain teams that can use his services. I think the Indiana Pacers could use his services. But, you know, sending him to L.A., I don't see that happening. As it relates to J.R. Smith, yeah, they could use scoring, but they got Jimmy Butler. Sometimes there's such a thing as too much. Maybe you save that roster. Maybe you save that roster spot for later on after February. What were you saying?
Is there? I mean, I remember him saying maybe like just a year ago that he wouldn't accept. He laughed at the notion of a backup role. Is he willing to accept a backup role at this point in his career? Carmelo.
So you're asking me, would he accept the backup role?
Yeah, I mean, would he? Is he finally accepting his place in the NBA at this point? You know, he's not getting any younger. Will he come off the bench? I mean, is he going to embrace that role?
See, I don't like that he's not getting any younger wrestlers because just 2 years ago, he was still balling and putting up stats.
A lot can change in 2 years, though.
A lot has changed in 2 years. Number one, he played on the Oklahoma City Thunder team that had Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
Number two, you're in a Houston Rockets team with your former coach, Mike D'Antoni, who you didn't get along with when he coached the Knicks, and he was a player with the Knicks. Number three, you're in Houston in a ball-dominated system where you got James Harden, who's a distributor, as well as Chris Paul. You're basically playing in a two-point guard lineup.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to Philly, yeah, you're going to have a ball-dominant Ben Simmons, but Ben Simmons is more magic than he is Harden. Harden is more like Tracy McGrady to me.
Okay.
And so when you look at that situation with Carmelo, if he would have come to the Sixers, it would be a good fit because he would still be a pure scorer, but you still know Jimmy Butler. That's his ball. That's his sugar honey iced tea. You're in a situation where it's a potent system. You mentioned Michael Vick in his prime. Michael Vick was in a situation with the Falcons where his best receiver was Algie Crumpler, who was the tight end, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Right.
Peerless Price was the wide receiver. But he comes to Philly, more mature, fresh out the pen, so to speak, and he's in a situation where he's got Deshaun Jackson lining up at wide receiver.
Right.
The same thing could be said for Carmelo when he was with the Knicks. You have J.R. Smith, who was your best shooter, and I mean, you had Ray Felton and you had other guys, but you had to go up against the Pacers who had Paul George at the time in 2013.
Right.
You know, that's the same thing that can be said for Carmelo when he was in the Western Conference when he was playing for the Denver Nuggets, and every year they lose to the Lakers. You know, it's easy to double on Carmelo, but at the same time, I mean, everybody was cheering him on when he came out of Syracuse. So then you come to a situation where you're in the Knicks and people get mad for him taking all the money because comparatively, LeBron took lesser deals or smaller deals, kind of like what KD has done. People get mad at Carmelo for getting the money, but he was making up money in endorsements because he was in Denver, not New York. So then he goes to Oklahoma City, and he's in a ball-dominant system with Paul George and Russell Westbrook. A lot has changed, but at the same time, I do think that Carmelo's going to have to take a smaller role because I feel like the role of basketball that he plays, younger guys play just like him.
Sure.
And so now you got to play catch up, and now everybody's going to criticize you defensively. Carmelo ain't never played defense, but now he's older and he really doesn't play any defense. LeBron James and Carmelo are pretty much the same age, and LeBron is still a leader of his team. That's the difference. That's why I don't buy the theory that he ain't getting no younger. Because Dwayne Wade is older than both of them, and he's on his way out. And They both came in at the same time.
Right. I think the perception out there is that you can't win with this guy. I think people forget that he took Denver to heights that, he was really the only guy on that team. They had Andre Miller. They had some talent on that team, but he was, the straw that stirred the drink. He was that guy in Denver. And then he went to New York, and you're talking about, Michael Vick with no help. He had no help in New York. So he kind of lost a lot of years to that time. He didn't have the third guy in Denver to win.
Sure.
And he kind of lost all that time. But right now, the perception, and it's just, it's out there. You know a hell of a lot more about basketball than I do. But the perception is out there that you can't win with this guy. But I love the challenge. I would love the Sixers to take on this guy, and let's see if we can turn it around.
And you would think that Houston would be that place where he could have redeemed himself. But Houston had defensive problems. You got rid of Trevor, or you let Trevor Ariza go. He signed a 1-year, $60 million deal with the Phoenix Suns. That's what messed him up. Then you lost Luke for Sharp by Mute. You traded Ryan Anderson. And that's what messed things up. Had the Houston Rockets if the Houston Rockets were able to get Jimmy Butler, we wouldn't be having this conversation about Carmelo right now.
Right.
I mean that.
Go ahead.
Because everybody has to have a fall. Every team has to have a fall guy right now. It's Carmelo. You were saying something. I want to hear what you have to say.
I was going to say, when I found out that he was going to Houston, I was really excited for Carmelo because of the lineup that they had out there. I thought that was going to be a great big three for them and that he was going to finally see some success out there. And then the sports media kind of has this perception of him that he's some sort of a villain or a poison in the locker room. And I just don't get it. And then I hear Philly's interested, and I don't see why not, especially with the Markelle Fultz situation. We don't know what's going to go on with him. We wanted him to be a contributor. We need people here that can contribute now. And I don't see any evidence that suggests that Carmelo wouldn't contribute here. I just don't know if he would get along with the pieces that are already involved.
I think Carmelo Anthony coming to Philadelphia will be a very redemptive story. Because Allen Iverson came from here, and Allen Iverson played with Carmelo in Denver. You talked about Denver. I think Carmelo's best years were when he and Allen Iverson were teammates.
Yeah.
And I also do think that Allen Iverson could be one of Carmelo's biggest advocates to come to Philadelphia.
I hadn't even thought about that. I totally forgot about that. Good point.
Yes. And I also think Rocky is my favorite movie.
I was just thinking that. Creed 2, tomorrow night.
Creed 2 is that. Man, we on the same page. We like Andre Miller, King and Martin in Denver right now. I really do think that Carmelo coming to the Sixers will be a good fit because it's redemptive. I had rapper Gilly the Kid on the Scoopy Radio podcast recently, and he told me he predicted that the Sixers were going to win the NBA Finals this season. I had no video. I'm going to hold him to that.
Wow.
But I think that the Sixers need some star power as well as just trusted role players. Allen Iverson told Sean Wozniak, I almost say Sean Wozniak, that's how you know it's time to go to sleep. he told Sean Sharania is that Carmelo's going to have to adjust, and maybe Philly is the place for him to adjust.
Well, you turned me around.
Very interesting.
I got the eye of the tiger right now. I'm ready. Let's bring on Melo.
Scoop, thank you so much for being on our show with us tonight. We really, really appreciate you being here with us.
A pleasure. I know we're going to talk off and on during the season, man. I'm not even worried. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to be myself.
Absolutely. Real quick before I let you go, where can our listeners find you on Twitter?
You can follow me on Twitter at ScoopB, SCOOP, letter B. And make sure you also subscribe to the Scoop B Radio podcast. 2 million streams last year. As of last week, we have 2.5 million streams this year. So 2 million streams last year, 2.5 million this year. We're trying to get to 3 million by the end of the year. And check out my work at Basketball Society as well as Heavy.com.
Absolutely fantastic. Scoop B, thank you so much for being on with us tonight.
A pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Catch you next time.
Thanks, man.
All right. That was an incredible chat with Scoop B. Shout out Scoop B. Go check him out, Scoop B Radio. Find him on Twitter. It's a great follow. If you're into basketball, he is the all-seeing, all-knowing. It's absolutely great.
And it's awesome because you get used to like talking to your buddies about basketball.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they know what they're talking about. Every time I talk to this guy, it's like, okay, yeah, he's on like another level. Like when I talk to Spader about baseball, it's like, he makes me feel bad about my baseball knowledge. This guy makes me feel bad about my basketball knowledge. Like, they're on a different plane than we are. Like now I'm on Team Melo. Now I want the Sixers to get Carmelo Anthony. It turns around just like that. One conversation, I'm sold.
Do you have TMZ stuff located, Craig? All right, let's do a quick. We got to keep it quick though. All right, because we are running out of time. And while CJ's pulling that up, I just want to tell everybody real quick, make sure that you tune into Novak and Franz tomorrow for a special Thanksgiving edition with Chris Rabb on the show. Absolutely phenomenal episode.
Rabb himself.
Yes, it is great. Also, real quick, before you do that, fun fact, I mentioned it on yesterday's Relatable Radio podcast, that minus the first season of Might Be News, which we can't air because I play illegal music on it, and all these cool platforms would kick us off. But minus the 10 episodes of that, we have officially with this episode 100 episodes of podcasts done. It's a pretty big deal. It's 100 podcasts.
Party time!
This episode right here is 100.
This is 100 right
This
now.
is where you got to play the party music. Remember when I asked for the patriotic music last week? This time you got to do it.
Well, the balloons didn't drop, so
But
no confetti.
I mentioned also in the Relatable Radio podcast that I'm thankful for everybody that's involved in the Might Be News Network. That includes you guys. I have a great time getting together with you guys every week. We've had a number of really, really excellent and awesome guests so far on this show. Just last week we had Tom McCarthy. You should check that out. Scoop has been on here twice now. We've been it's
Spader, Brian Startari, good people.
Yep, it's been fantastic. So very thankful for what we got going on here. We're gonna keep it up going into the new year and beyond. CJ, give us some rapid
On that
fire
note,
shit.
let's talk
All
about
right.
some trashy sports news.
Yeah, quickly.
Roy Halladay makes Hall of Fame ballot 1 year after death.
I'm down.
I love that man. I hope he makes it. He won't.
You don't think so?
Nope.
Not in first round?
Not first time.
I don't know. I think since he died, he's definitely first.
That's
round.
exactly why people are going to be like kind of dicks about it and be like, I'm not going to let that affect my my balloting. So, I mean, we'll see. It's not going to happen this year. Next year. Vladimir Guerrero didn't make it first year. Roy Halladay, I love him. Next year.
Ray Rice cheered in return to Baltimore. Ray.
How long? I'm sick of this whole story. What are you going to do?
Was he like a guest of honor or something?
He apparently showed up to Didn't say really why he was there, but he
Okay.
was at the Ravens game.
It's been so long, I forget the facts. First of all, we have a court system for a reason. He wasn't convicted of a crime. They built a statue of him after the fact. Are you going to celebrate him or not? If you're going to celebrate him, cheer the man. There's a statue of him.
There is.
It's enough
I
is
didn't know
enough.
there was a statue
There's
of
a
him.
statue.
Really?
So enough is enough. If you're gonna like give people crap for cheering the man, bullshit. When there's a statue outside the stadium, that it kind of goes hand in hand.
Michael Jordan rare autograph card sold for $95,000.
Wow.
What's it signed? Like fuck you, Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
Like
how rare
why
is
is it
that?
rare? Because typically these cards, when they're signed, it decreases the value. But I guess with anything else, if it's a one-of-a-kind item, then it makes it more valuable.
It's one of 25 cards from the All-Star game.
Well, there you go.
That's pretty awesome. Next.
All right.
Last one.
Last one. Make it super trashy. They haven't been trashy enough. I want something like TMZ official. Hashtag TMZ official.
Ex-Michigan State Prez charged with lying to police about NASA investigation.
Oh.
That's ugly.
Ugh.
You went too dark with that one.
Well, no, dude, if that's true, that guy's so fucked. He's so fucked.
What do you have to lose at that point? Like, you're not involved. Hopefully, you're not involved in any of this stuff and
Right.
covering any of it up. Just tell the truth.
Yeah.
Like, it's just tell the truth and be done with it.
Right.
That's so nasty and so messed up, that whole scenario.
Terrible.
Why would you go down with that shit?
That's it.
Is that all we got?
Yeah, that's
All right.
good.
All we got.
Let's do Thanksgiving edition GOAT of the week, the greatest of all time.
Of the week.
Mine this week isn't nearly as sentimental as it was last week with Stan Lee. Watching the Monday Night Football broadcast, I saw a very interesting split second in time where Coach Andy Reid of the Kansas City Chiefs, formerly of the Philadelphia Eagles, was seen screaming at Rams quarterback Jared Goff to get away, don't come over here. Like, so I guess there was a penalty. I forget the exact situation or scenario, but Andy Reid is freaking out on the ref, and Jared Goff comes trotting over wanting to say his piece, and Andy Reid just points at him and screams, don't come over here, blah, 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 just yelling at him. And like, even I've never seen him that mad. I hope Andy Reid continues to do good this season. I really do. I cheer for Andy Reid.
Continues to do well.
Yeah, whatever. I hope I'm glad he's not a part of the Eagles anymore. I know the Eagles look like trash right now, but I guess I'm hoping that the Chiefs make a decent run at it this year. So Andy Reid for yelling at pretty boy Jared Goff, you're my go to the week.
All right, we talked about this pre-show, and there was a reason I was tight-lipped about this because I wanted to, be fresh on the air to give my take.
Oh,
And I gotta be honest, I don't love this whole watching and obsessing over every second of tape for every game. We've got HD TV so we can see everything, we hear everything. I watched the game live. I saw him yell at Goff, and I'm like, okay, next. It wasn't that big a deal to me. And then the announcers made it a big deal, and it was interesting for a second.
I thought it was a funny moment. More
Yeah,
than
it was
anything.
funny, it
More
was
than anything,
interesting.
it was hysterical
for
to me.
literally 1 second.
Yeah.
And then I was totally over it. And it was just, okay, he's talking to the refs, and Goff is weirdly coming over. He's having an impassioned debate with the refs, which he was right about, by the way.
Yeah.
He was talking about, Goff's pass. First of all, his argument was about the quarterback. So when the quarterback's coming over,
Yeah,
which was weird, he's like, get back. It's not involving you.
right.
It's just, I don't think it's a big story.
After no, it's not a big story.
Right.
But what it is that it after so many emotionless years,
Right. It's fun.
that was like an emotional outburst in a weird direction that I never thought I'd see him necessarily go. I mean, like, not that I never saw him yell at somebody before, but yelling at another player of the opposite team, that was a whole nother step. That, first of all, you don't see anybody do very often, much less fucking Big Red Andy Reid, which to me, it was just hysterical because it was such a crazy fucking game anyway to begin with. Like, the whole thing, the emotion of it all was nuts. And him yelling at Goff, it just was the cherry on top for me.
I'll give it to you.
What about you?
All right, my guy was it's going to be Jimmy Butler. And as just as I talk about the cliche stuff about, hanging on every word on TV, I go with the cliche answer of Jimmy Butler. And it's just only not because he blocked what could have been the game-winning shot and then made the game-winning shot. Not because of that, but because it made me realize like how fragile and how like weird, like not only a game, but a player's performance can be in a game in a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
Literally for a half hour straight, I'm cursing Jimmy Butler in overtime and at the end of the game for not stepping up and either making a shot or stopping Kemba Walker's shot. For that whole span of time, he was not doing his job, as far as I could tell. And at the end, I'm jumping up and down saying he's the best guy on the team. Thank God for Jimmy Butler. He's the reason we won. What's the difference? He makes one play on the defensive side, one play on the offensive side, and he's the greatest of all time of the week. So, I mean, that's what I love about sports.
Yeah.
It's that fragile. It could go one way or the other with one play.
Well, quickly, before we get out of here, because you were skeptical of the Jimmy Butler deal and how it was going to work out, how do you feel basically a week later? Any different?
I'm still not sold. I want to see blowouts.
Yeah.
But also I'm wondering if that's not the way the NBA is right now this year. The NFL
it doesn't
has
feel
changed,
like it. It
right?
doesn't feel like it.
We already know the NFL is just 10 times different than it was last year. It's just, you could look at last season compared to this season.
Yeah.
It just seems like they're two different sports.
Right.
NBA is kind of going the same way. The games are closer.
You're seeing a lot of close, high-scoring games.
So I wonder if the blowout just doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah.
For right now. You look at their record, they're solid. So, record-wise, they're still right up there. They're doing great. They're winning with them. They're still, I think, undefeated at home.
Yep.
Best home record in the NBA.
Yep.
Those stats, bear out that they're one of the best teams in the East.
Sure.
So maybe it's going to work out, but it just means, which angers me so much, that I had a headache at the end of that Hornets game.
Yeah.
And I've had famously, according to like my, 200 Facebook followers, I say #famously, I've had like 18 headaches my entire life. The 19th was at the end of that Hornets game.
Wow.
I don't get headaches. And I was just like, I can't handle this every game. I can't do it.
Get ready.
It
looks that
a
way.
Season of Eagles games like this.
Yeah.
And then the Sixers are going to be like this all year long. I can't do this in the playoffs. I need blowouts. I love blowouts.
I can't believe you guys didn't mention the true goat of the week.
Who is it, Craig?
Turducket.
Who?
Turducket.
Who is that?
John Madden, the turkey, the duck.
Yeah, but you said turducket.
Turducken. Sorry.
All right. I was confused. I was wondering if there was a guy named Turducket.
Oh, I got you.
There could be.
There's some weird names out there. You've seen the Key and Peele sketch where they name the college football players?
Yes.
Turducket would have been awesome.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
That's a missed opportunity.
Definitely. CJ, Kevin Reevy, happy Thanksgiving. Great job tonight. And again, make sure you check out Novak and Franz tomorrow with Chris Rabb himself, special guest host. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Tomorrow we'll conclude our Thanksgiving week activities. So great job tonight, guys. Shout out to Scoop B. Thanks again for being on the show. See you guys next week.